Avatar: The Last Airbender, Smoke and Shadow is the story of Fire Lord Zuko struggling to maintain his rule of the Fire Nation as the new Ozai Society makes things very difficult for him. The Fire Nation capital. The night is dark. In his home, Yukino is awoken by voices in his bedroom. "Yukino, you're a failure! Yukino, a disgrace!" the voices call. Yukino sits up, staring at the cloaked figures in his room. They float before him on a wave of smoke, their tattered robes blowing gently. "You failed as the governor of New Ozai, but we offer you the chance for redemption," they whisper to him. You're the Kamura Kage," Yukino stutters in fear. The Kamura Kage lean forward, telling Yukino that safety is born from strength, and that as long as Zuko is on the throne, the Fire Nation is in danger. "Act now! Depose the weakling! Redeem yourself or suffer!" they order him. Yukino still can't believe it, but the smoke dissipates, and the strange spirits are gone. The next day, Yukino stands before the members of the new Ozai Society. He tells them that they've been patient, but the time to act has come. He reports that his spies have told him that the Fire Lord will return tomorrow, with his friends and his mother, Ursa. The name brings boos from the room. He says that the journey over land will leave Zuko vulnerable for long periods. "Tomorrow we remove Zuko not only from the throne, but from the face of the earth. Tomorrow we will restore the Fire Nation to glory. Tomorrow we attack!" he shouts to his group. Yet one young man isn't cheering. Kalo walks into Yukino's chambers after his speech, asking to speak with their leader. He asks why they are attacking now, when before, Yukino has said that they would need months to prepare and plan. "Kalo, I have recently had premonition of sorts. We can no longer wait on this," Yukino tells him, reaching out for the man. Fear is in the leader's eyes as he tells Kalo that safety is born of strength. Out on the ocean, Aang and Ki laugh as they ride the back of the flying dolphin fish as Sokka and Katara watch from the bow of Zuko's boat. Zuko and his mother step on the deck, feeling the sea air on their faces. "The captain says we're only a day away from the mainland. So much has changed, Mother. I can't wait to show you around," Zuko tells Ursa with a smile. Ursa laughs, putting her hand to her son's face and commenting on how his eyes still sparkle when he gets excited. Zuko smiles, turning from his mother to check on his friends. Alone, Norin expresses concern for his wife, noting that her hands always get cold when she is worried. And for a moment, Ursa's eyes show fear. It's just been a long time since I've been in that place. I'll be fine," she tells her husband. She turns, gasping as she sees Ki riding the sea creatures with Aang. "Ki, come back!" she screams, despite Katara explaining that it's perfectly safe. Aang brings the young girl back, apologizing and explaining that she wasn't in danger. But Ursa grabs her daughter, pulling her into a hug. "I can't lose you. I can't," she gasps. But Ki isn't happy, trying to pull away from the woman she doesn't recognize. "Let go! Let go!" she yells before running to Norin and asking him to take her downstairs. Zuko comes over, telling his mother that Ki just needs some time since Ursa regained her original face. Aang once again apologizes, but Ursa tells him not to and that she is embarrassed for overreacting. With these words, she wanders away to be by herself on the deck of the ship. Back in the capital, Ty Lee enters a flower shop, happy to find the family of her friend May within. She is surprised to see Michi and Tom Tom, but Michi explains that she discovered that May's father is not handling the new Fire Lord very well, and they had no choice but to leave. "I thought I heard your voice," May says, coming out of the back room. Ty Lee grabs her friend, hugging her and leading her out of the room, and quickly they find themselves in a tea shop down the road. Inside, Ty Lee fills May on everything she's missed since she left Zuko in the capital. Ty Lee then changes the subject, asking if May has been seeing anyone. The young woman tells her that she met a boy named Kai Lo who had bought flowers and then gave them to her.
Yet she discovered that he worked for her father and was trying to recruit her into his secret society. "I'm sorry, May, but I promise that not all guys are jerks," Ty Lee tells her. But May explains that Kai Lo has been meeting her in secret for the past couple of weeks. Ty Lee is shocked, but May explains that she thinks she can use Kai Lo to stop her father. He has told her that they have something big planned for Zuko's return, and that she asked him to meet her here so that Ty Lee can get a read on him. As if on cue, Kai Lo enters the tea house, pulling down his hood. "Over here, babe," May calls, her entire demeanor changing. Back aboard Zuko's ship, his group of friends bid him goodbye in the night. Aang explains that Zuko and his family need the time together to bond. Zuko smiles, thanking his friends for everything they did and hugging Aang goodbye. "Happy to be there for you, buddy," Sokka tells him, patting Zuko on the back. The friends quickly board Appa, taking off into the night. "We'll see each other before you know it. Yu Dao's inaugural celebration is in a week," Aang calls, waving goodbye as they float into the air. Zuko smiles up into the darkness as his friends fly away. He turns, finding his mother on the deck of the ship, looking out on the dark ocean. He watches a tear fall down her cheek, and he steps forward, revealing himself. "Mom, you okay?" he asks as he dabs at her eyes. "Zuko, I'm fine," she tells him simply. Meanwhile, in the tea house, Kai Lo has finished telling the girls about Yukino's plot. "You're so brave to bring this information to us, Kai Lo. I'm so impressed," Mai tells him, a big smile on her face. Kai Lo smiles, telling them that he did it for May. He gets up to leave, and May calls out to him. "Bye, babe," she yells. "He's out of earshot. You can stop being so fake now," Ty Lee snaps. May turns back, her entire demeanor shifted again. "Well?" she asks. Ty Lee is shocked that May can lead Kai Lo on like that, but May shrugs it off, explaining that it's for a good reason. "That boy's got a good aura. I think he's being truthful, which is more that I can say about you right now," Ty Lee tells her. On the boat, Zuko and his mother continue to talk as they look out on the ocean. He tells her not to worry, that Kiyi will come around to Ursa's new face. But she nods, telling him that she was actually thinking about her other daughter, Azula, that she hopes that she is warm and happy wherever she is. Zuko nods, telling his mother that he searched for weeks through Forgetful Valley, and that Azula will only be found when she wants to be found. "I'm sure she's safe. If nothing else, she knows how to survive. Happy though? I don't even know what that would mean for her," Zuko tells his mother. Finally, Ursa forces a smile. "Zuko, we shouldn't be so dour on the eve of our homecoming. It'll be wonderful to see you in your element," she tells her son, taking his hand. Zuko is shocked that his mother's hands are freezing and moves to lead her below deck. But they are both stunned as a messenger hawk lands on the rail. Zuko pulls free the message from the Kyoshi warriors, reading it quickly. When questioned, he tells his mother that it's nothing he can't handle and sends her below deck. The next day, Ursa is surprised that they haven't reached Harbor City, but are just off the coast. Zuko nods, telling her that they have changed plans. And suddenly, the water next to them begins to bubble as a submarine breaks the surface. "Wow! What is that?" Kiyi yells. "A submarine, a ship that goes underwater. It's based on one of my friend Sokka's designs," Zuko tells them. "That funny guy with the boomerang?" Doran asks. "That's him," Zuko nods. The hatch pops and Iroh reveals himself, waving to his nephew. He gets out, hugging his nephew and accepting thanks for acting in his place. Iroh turns, bowing to Ursa and apologizing for all the pain that his family has caused her. He is shocked though as Ursa pulls him into a hug. "Iroh, what are you apologizing for? Your presence in the family always gave me hope," she tells him. Zuko holds his hand out, helping Suki off the ship, and she confirms the plan with him. She'll escort him and his family along a hidden route, while a decoy takes the main roads. "So you were able to find a decoy then? Who?" Zuko asks. "Well, Iroh sort of volunteered," she says as they both turn to see the old man smiling and waving vigorously. "No offense, uncle, but you and I don't really look alike, Zuko tells his uncle. But Iroh smiles, telling his nephew that the people will only see his hand. What do you think? Is my hand waving filled with enough angst? I've been practicing all morning, Iroh tells him, demonstrating his angst-filled wave. Finally, they all begin to board. Zuko leans down to his sister, convincing her to take Ursa's hand even though she doesn't want to. They all board the submarine and take off, allowing the flagship to continue on its way. Arriving at Harbor City, the ship is greeted by throngs of supporters cheering for the return of Fire Lord Zuko. The ramp lowers, allowing the Fire Lord's carriage to drive forward. Everyone cheers as the Fire Lord waves to them. Inside, the guard turns to Iroh. "Why so sullen, General Iroh?" he asks, looking at Iroh's serious face. "I find that method acting works best for me. How can I wave with angst if I don't feel the angst?" Iroh tells the man. Meanwhile, the other Kyoshi warriors wait off the coast as the submarine arrives. The family quickly disembarks, boarding the waiting carriage. The group doesn't hesitate, quickly beginning to move away from the shore. Along the normal route, May and Ty Lee look out from one of the watchtowers. May's eyes narrow as she looks out at the road as the convoy begins to grow closer. A watchtower every 100 yards or so? A narrow road that forces you to travel single file? This is probably the most heavily fortified road in the Fire Nation. Why would my dad choose here, in broad daylight? He's a lot of things, but stupid isn't one of them, May tells her friend. Kylo's a liar, she hisses. But Ty Lee defends the man, telling May that she was the one who was lying the other day. Finally, one of the warriors interrupts them, telling them that the convoy draws near. Ty Lee draws their attention, pointing to a group of men sliding down from the hills around them. "Up there! That must be them!" she shouts. "What did I tell you? Good aura, that boy," Ty Lee shouts as they all leap out of the watchtower's window. On the ground, the new Ozai warriors have already surrounded the Fire Nation soldiers, knocking several of them off their ostrich horses. "How can you defend that imposter?" one of the Ozai warriors snarls, standing over a Fire Nation soldier, his hand ready to shoot flame. But Ty Lee is there, hitting the warrior in several pressure points and dropping him to the ground. The rest of the Ozai warriors are dropped quickly as May moves to the carriage. "Iroh, you okay in there?" she asks. The door bursts open, revealing the elderly Bender. "Oh yes, the Dragon of the West is ready!" he shouts, but his face drops as he sees the warriors defeated around him. But he quickly gathers himself. "Good work, everyone, and so quick!" he congratulates the group of soldiers. May nods, admitting that it was over too quickly. "My father gathers an army, yet he sends these 6 buffoons to take out Zuko? It doesn't add up," she whispers. She bends down, trying to get information out of one of the warriors, but they are interrupted as Suki's distress flare shoots up over the forest. "So much for Kylo's good aura," May hisses. In the forest, Zuko's convoy is stopped as a tree suddenly falls in their path. "What's going on?" Zuko questions from the window. Suki looks back, telling him that an old tree fell in their path. But Zuko turns, looking at sticks of dynamite tied to another tree. "I don't think that tree fell because it's old. Get down!" he shouts. The bombs explode, surrounding the group with fallen trees. "Free Fire Lord Ozai! Free Fire Lord Ozai!" the Ozai Society chants from the woods. The Kyoshi warriors draw their fans, preparing themselves. "Ready yourselves, sisters! We're in for a fight!" Suki yells. Zuko turns, ordering his family to stay in the carriage. The warriors continue to chant as Yukino steps forward, a mask covering his face. "Zuko, the time has come for you to return the throne to the one true Fire Lord. We demand you step down at once. Do so peacefully, and no harm shall come to your family," he shouts. Zuko looks up, smiling slightly. "Let me get this straight. You expect me to give up my destiny, my rightful place in the nation, just because a bunch of thugs who were too cowardly to show their faces asked me to? He asks. Well, yes? Yukino nods, sweat breaking out on his forehead. Ridiculous! Zuko snaps, throwing a massive fireball at them. Yukino orders his men to attack, and the battle begins. Suki fires her signal flare into the air as Zuko rushes towards 3 of the attackers. He leaps, kicking and throwing flames as the Kyoshi warriors leap amongst the Ozai Order with their fans. There's no end to them, Zuko shouts, turning back towards Suki, just in time to watch her get snagged by a bolo. He turns as another of the Ozai warriors fires a bolo at him as well, and he falls to the ground, captured. Ha! Not bad for what was it you called us? A bunch of thugs? Yukino laughs from his perch. He turns to his men, ordering them to attack the carriage while he reminds Zuko that he didn't give up peacefully. Leave them alone! They've got nothing to do with this, Zuko shouts. This is wrong, Master! I won't let you hurt those people! Kylo shouts, pulling down his mask to reveal his face. He leaps down, cutting Zuko free, and the two leap to attack the remaining warriors. Yukino looks down, with no surprise in his eyes. Kylo, I wondered how long it would take you to finally reveal your treachery. I knew long ago that your heart had abandoned the righteous path, and that's why you proved useful to me. Zuko and Kylo are pushed back to back, with the Fire Lord demanding to know why Kylo freed him. Let's just say we have a mutual friend, Kylo tells him. Who? Zuko asks. Her! Kylo shouts as they look up to see Mei and the rest of the Kyoshi warriors dropping from their airship towards them. Mei lands, throwing her knives at the Ozai warriors. Now, finally, the Dragon of the West is ready for action! Iroh shouts with a giant smile. Mei turns, grabbing Kylo. I knew you couldn't be trusted, she snaps. Kylo tries to defend himself, explaining that the Society fed him bad information. I vouch for him, Zuko tells her. What? You don't know a thing about him, Mei snaps in disbelief. I know his name is Kylo and he just helped save my family, Zuko tells her. But Mei isn't listening anymore as she hears her father's voice coming from amongst the Ozai Society, ordering them into battle. She leaps away, joining her father on the fallen tree. Have you lost your mind? This is treason, she snaps at her father. You've never been able to see past your own needs, daughter, he tells her. One of his warriors leaps past, raining blows on Mei. Yukino shouts at the man, telling him to stop. You gotta stop, bro. Boss's orders, another warrior yells, leaping in to help. Tell her that, the man shouts, trying to block Mei's flurry of blows. Kylo leaps in, trying to help Mei. Attack him, you imbeciles! No mercy for Kylo, Yukino yells. So, who gets mercy? I'm so confused, one of the Society's warriors mumbles. Together, Kylo and Mei quickly dispatch the warriors. Kylo tries to explain to Mei why he did what he did, but she brushes him off. Kylo apologizes, telling her that he really does like her. Suddenly, one of the warriors rushes them, and Kylo is knocked from the log, falling towards the earth below. Mai flips the warrior, knocking him out. Kylo? She shouts. I'm okay. My leg might not be, but I am. He shouts back up to her. Mei turns as her father comes up behind her, pulling down his mask. Mei, it's just you and me now. Please listen, he tells her. Meanwhile, Zuko is surrounded by the rest of the Society warriors. Fitting, isn't it? The imposter Fire Lord meets his end in a roaring fire. One of them laughs. They blast Zuko, showering him in flames. But the flames join together, becoming a massive fiery funnel. And Zuko is revealed standing on the carriage, swirling the fire around him until he sends it up into the sky. New Ozai Society, this is your last chance. Surrender now, or face your Fire Lord's wrath, he shouts as the flames spin around him. Above them, Yukino explains that everything he does for the Fire Nation. He believes that Zuko has compromised their strength to appease the Avatar. that he has lost control of the nation and that they will never be safe. May points below them, asking her father that if Zuko is so weak, then why are all your nutjob followers either surrendering or fleeing for their lives, she questions. But Yukino shakes his head, pointing out that Zuko has no problem bullying his own people. Finally, he holds up his hands. If you don't think there's any truth in what I'm saying, go ahead. Arrest me, he tells her. Ow! 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 Kylo whispers with every step as he moves through the forest. Are you planning on hobbling all the way back to Capital City? May asks, coming up behind him. It's what, 5 miles? 10 tops? I could make it. He smiles at her. But she puts an arm around his shoulder, smiling as she tells him that they can ride in the Kyoshi Warriors' airship. Where's your dad? He asks. He got away, May says, averting her eyes. Finally, they arrive in the capital city. Zuko thanks the Kyoshi warriors for their aid before he begins to show his family around the castle. Ki and Norin quickly head off, while Ursa is more hesitant. Just tired from all the excitement, she tells Zuko when he asks. He nods, offering to show her to her old room. One of the guest rooms will be fine, she tells him. She begins to move through the castle, sadness and fear in her eyes. Zuko thanks his uncle for his help as he comes through the door. Think she'll be okay? He asks, indicating his mother. Time heals all wounds, Iroh tells him solemnly. But Iroh knows that this is not the only thing bothering Zuko, and the Fire Lord admits that he is worried about the new Ozai Society, and wonders if Iroh would be willing to go to the Yu-Dao ceremony so that he can focus on things at the palace. I was about to suggest the same thing. You're growing in wisdom, Zuko, Iroh tells his nephew with a smile. Because I'm beginning to think like you? Zuko asks. Well, yes, Iroh admits. Ursa moves through the palace, fear sweeping through her body as the old feelings of anxiety overtake her. She stops, staring up at a large painting of Ozai as if it is looking at her. In his headquarters, Yukino stares up at a different image of Ozai. Smoke fills the room as Yukino turns in fear. You have failed to redeem yourself, the Kamura Kage whisper. You must suffer. But Yukino begs for their mercy. He tells them that he needs more time, and for them to give him a month. If that weakling is still on the throne, he pleads. Then you shall lose all that is dear to you, the Kamura Kage finish for him. With these words, they are gone. A month later, May and Kylo are walking down the street. I can't believe that you wouldn't go out with me until my leg healed, Kylo says to her. Casts are so unattractive, May admits. They continue to talk, with Kylo explaining once again why he abandoned Yukino for May. Suddenly, their conversation is interrupted as they hear May's mother scream. They look up, seeing 3 cloaked Kamura Kage moving along the rooftops. You! Stop! What were you doing in our shop? May shouts, throwing her knives. She leaps onto the roof, trying to fight the strange cloaked figures. Who are you? What do you want? She demands. We have what we want, the Kamura Kage whispers, moving their cloak to reveal a sleeping Tom-Tom. May tries to rescue her brother, but the Kamura Kage disappear in a cloud of smoke. The next morning, May and her family stand before the police. The officer asked her if she has a good description of the attackers. They looked like Kamura Kage, she explains. May explains that the Kamura Kage were an old myth from her village, that they were supposed to snatch children from their beds when they misbehaved. But her mother steps forward telling her that it was just a myth. The Kamura Kage aren't supposed to be real, she sobs. But it seems they are, Zuko says from the doorway. The guards turn to bow. What are you doing here? May asks. I heard about what happened last night. I'm here to help. If we're up against spirits, though, we'll need more than just me. We'll need the Avatar. Aang tapped against the bowl, signaling the end of meditation time. Xingying goes over, waking up Jingbo, who once again apologizes to Aang for having fallen asleep. As the acolytes leave, Aang turns back and thanks Iroh for allowing them to use his tea shop once again.
Anytime, Avatar. Tea and meditation go so well together.
The elderly tea master smiles. Sokka and Katara pop their heads in, asking if Aang is ready to go. Just finished, Aang tells his friends. Perfect timing! We just got everything packed on Appa, Sokka tells him. Iroh comes out asking the group where they are going. To the South Pole. It'll be our first time back since the end of the war, Sokka tells him. The kids explain that they're heading back to help rebuild. Plus, Aang is looking forward to penguin sledding. And to eat some of Auntie Ashuna's seal jerky, Sokka whispers lovingly. What? You hate Auntie Ashuna's seal jerky, Katara yells at her brother. You mean I hated Auntie Ashuna's seal jerky. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, he tells her as they begin to walk towards Appa. But Aang stops short, surprised by the arrival of a messenger hawk. Reading it, he explains to the others that Zuko is having trouble with spirits and needs the Avatar. Why don't you guys come with me? I'm sure it won't take long, he tells them. It's Spirit World stuff. When's the last time Spirit World stuff didn't take long? Sokka asks. Katara nods, agreeing that their father is waiting for them. And so Katara and Aang hug, with the Avatar apologizing. Nothing to be sorry about, it just comes with dating the Avatar, she whispers to him. Katara and Sokka watch Appa and Aang fly away, before heading to the docks to find a ship home. It isn't long before Aang is walking into a meeting room in the Fire Lord's palace. Zuko thanks his friend for coming, and Aang once again greets Mai. Wow, this is great! Does this mean you guys are back together? He asks. And this is Kylo, Mai's boyfriend, Zuko says, interrupting Aang. Oh, I mean, you know what I said earlier? By back together, I meant, Aang stutters. Please, keep talking, because things aren't awkward enough as it is, Mai sighs. Zuko interrupts again, introducing Aang to the other person in the room, Constable Sung. He is leading the investigation into the kidnapping, Zuko explains. Sung bows to the Avatar, honored to meet him. Wait, kidnapping? Aang asks. Quickly, Mai explains that her brother was kidnapped by the Kamura Kage, informing Aang that they are dark spirits from her home. Several reports of dark spirit sightings came in from all over the capital city, though Tom Tom was the only abductee, Sung explains. Aang begins to ask a question, but is interrupted as Yukino barges in. The guard apologizes, but Zuko waves them off, explaining that he is the abductee's father. Yukino walks in, throwing accusations around, and he demands that Zuko grow a spine and deal with these dark spirits. Everyone knows the spirit world begins to act up when the human world is weak, Yukino shouts. Aang tries to argue, but Yukino isn't listening. He suggests that Zuko place a curfew over the city and assign a special task force to hunt and fight the dark spirits. Take down just one of them, and we'll show the spirits that humans aren't meant to be trifled with, he tells him. Aang steps in, explaining that a curfew will just make people afraid, and that a task force wouldn't be able to fight the spirits anyway. Let's just figure out what happened to Tom Tom, and then we'll know what to do next, he tells his friend. What the Avatar says makes sense, Mai agrees. Zuko closes his eyes, pondering for a few moments. Wise advice, Avatar. Constable, please escort Yukino out, he says. Yukino begins to shout at Zuko, telling him that he is unworthy of the throne. Imposter! Imposter! He begins to yell. Zuko is shocked by the words, and he quickly turns to Mai, asking if her father was part of the attack by the new Ozai Society. Not that I know of, she tells him after a brief pause. I thought I recognized his voice, Zuko tells her. Aang steps in, asking Mai to tell him everything she knows about the Kamura Kage. I've already told you, they're just an old legend, Mai tells him. Zuko nods, knowing a place where they can find out more about old legends. As Zuko and Aang walk out of the room, Kylo turns to Mai. He asks why she lied about her father, that Yukino should be in jail, but Mai shakes her head, explaining that when they find Tom Tom, her father will be the safest place for him. With this, she walks out of the room to join Zuko and Aang. Meanwhile, Constable Sung is escorting Yukino out of the palace. Yukino finally explains to Sung that this is just the beginning, that the dark spirits see Zuko as weak. "If I were you, I'd keep a close eye on your boy," Yukino warns. After boarding Appa, the group flies over to the Fire Sage's capital temple in the surrounding mountains. "You've been here before, May?" Kylo asks, in awe of the vast structure. "Once, an ex thought it would be romantic to share a meal over the burial site of his ancestors," she explains. "And he was right. It was romantic," Zuko smiles. "So, you guys, how about we, get going on whatever it is we came here to do?" Aang laughs nervously. Inside, they are greeted by Great Sage Shiu. He bows before the Fire Lord and the Avatar, and quickly he begins to ramble about several new forms of meditation that he has developed, before Zuko interrupts him. "I'd love to hear more, Shiu, I swear, but right now my friends and I need to get into the Dragonbone catacombs," he explains. Shiu sighs and walks over to the Great Seal on the floor. Stamping his feet, he draws fire around him, activating the seal and creating a great staircase that spirals down into the floor. Creating fire to light their way, the group quickly descends into the darkness. Meanwhile, Constable Sung sits and eats dinner with his wife. She is telling him a story of their son, but he is barely listening, thinking about the words Yukino spoke to him. He suddenly pauses in explaining to his wife when he hears footsteps from his son's room. He rushes forward, discovering smoke seeping from beneath the door. With a smash, he kicks in the door, discovering the Kamura Kage stealing his son. "Release my son now," he snaps, pulling free a knife. "You heard the man," his wife adds, coming up behind him with her own knife drawn, ready to protect her child. The spirits watch them for a moment, before one of them rushes forward. The parents try to fight, but the Kamura Kage dodge around their strikes, filling the room with smoke. Both parents fall to the floor coughing, and when the smoke finally begins to dissipate, their son is gone. Within the catacombs, the group is moving forward, passing the bones of dragons and images of Zuko's cranky-looking ancestors. Aang is confused, asking how this will help them learn about the spirits. Zuko stops, gesturing to a mural on the wall and explaining that it tells the history of the Fire Nation, including its myths and legends, Zuko tells him. As they continue forward, they are stopped by a door with 4 dragon heads on it. When Sozin came into power, he ordered the rest of the corridor to be sealed off, as if Fire Nation's history began with him, Zuko tells them. Zuko indicates the door, believing that what they need to learn is on the other side. Aang studies the door, believing that the dragon heads appear to be the locking mechanism. The two of them drop into bending stances, ready themselves, and launch fire at the wall. Back in the palace, Suki and Ty Lee are watching over the castle walls. Ty Lee has heard reports of other Kamura Kage stealing children and believe that they should be in the city to help, but Suki shakes her head, ordering that they watch the palace while they wait for Zuko. Ursa overhears these words, and fear grips her. She quickly makes her way through the chambers, finding Norin in another room. "Where's Kiyi? Why aren't you with her?" she asks. Norin explains that their daughter is sleeping in the next room, and Ursa runs through, telling him that she has the worst feeling. Yet as they open the door, they both find the young girl asleep in her bed. "Oh, thank goodness you're safe," Ursa whispers, holding her sleeping daughter tightly. Within the catacombs, Aang and Zuko continue to launch fire at the door, but to no avail. Finally, Kylo interrupts him, having his own idea. He borrows May's throwing knives, believing the lock to be in the dragon's nose and not its mouth. "Wait, you're going to pick the dragon's noses? That seems awfully disrespectful, not to mention gross," Aang points out. Kylo ignores him, turning back to May. "Babe, can you help me out here?" he asks. "Babe?" Aang whispers to Zuko, but the Fire Lord just looks at him sideways. "You're not one to talk, Aang," he whispers back. Zuko watches as May and Kylo work very closely together to pick the locks on all 4 heads. Finally, the door slides open, revealing the corridor beyond. Back in his home, Yukino is awakened by a knock at the door. He opens it, discovering Constable Sung. The constable quickly fills Yukino in on his son being kidnapped, along with several other children throughout the capital. Sung tells Yukino that he was right, and they can't wait for Zuko's response. They must act now. And I know just how to get started, Yukino smiles. In the catacombs, the group has discovered the mural depicting the Kamura Kage. Creepy! Aang shudders as he looks at the smoky creatures. Mei reaches into a shelf, pulling free the scroll that tells the history of the Kamura Kage. And Zuko steps close to her, offering her his light. Mei looks down and begins to read. Long before the Fire Nation came into existence, warlords ruled the Fire Islands. They fought each other for territory, with the common people often getting caught in the middle. The worst of these warlords was a man named Toes. He would demand annual tributes from all of the people within his territories. And one year, a village refused. To teach them a lesson, Toes had all the children from the village kidnapped, and the children were never seen again, and the mothers died in sadness. How horrible! Where was my past life in all of this? Aang asks. Maybe this was before the first Avatar, Zuko wonders. Soon after the mothers' deaths, dark spirits began to haunt Toes and his men. They would come in the middle of the night, stealing the children, and out of fear, Toes' men abandoned the warlord. But even when his regime had collapsed, the dark spirits would come. Their sadness was insatiable. Eesh! Maybe Sozin kept ancient Fire Nation history locked away because it's so depressing, Aang chimes in. Suddenly, they are interrupted as a wisp of smoke emits from the mural. Moving through the dark passageways, Aang doesn't think twice and quickly follows it deeper into the catacombs. Back in the city, Yukino and Sung are moving through the streets, trying to enforce the curfew on a father and his son that were working late. They are interrupted as a group begins to pass them, carrying torches and chanting, "A strong nation is a safe nation. A strong nation is a safe nation," they chant. Sung nods, explaining that they are a safe nation society. His own police force isn't enough, and the militia has volunteered to help. Suddenly, there is a piercing scream in the night, and a woman comes to the window, shouting that her baby has been stolen. The group looks up, seeing 3 of the dark spirits hovering over a house, smoke billowing beneath their cloaks. "What are you waiting for? Attack!" Yukino shouts to the militia. Back in the catacombs, the group is rushing to catch up with the wisp of smoke. Aang stops short as the smoke disappears into another dragon statue. "Oh, monkey feathers," he whispers. "I bet this is another lock. Kylo, think you could?" he begins to ask. The young man nods, stepping forward and picking the second lock. The door slides open, revealing a staircase leading down. "Looks like a crypt," Aang tells them. "I'm not going down there," Mei states simply. Aang begins to move, asking Kylo to follow him in case anything else needs to be unlocked. "Sure," Kylo says, glancing back at his girlfriend with Zuko. In a matter of moments, Zuko and Mei are alone. "So," they both say together. "Kylo seems nice," Zuko tells her, trying to fill the awkward silence. "He is," she agrees. "It's good to see you happy, or at least happy-ish, but I have to be honest. I miss you, Mei," he tells her. Mei turns, angry. She asks why Zuko would say something like that to her. She tells him that they had their chance. "Tell me, do you feel the same way about him that you felt about me?" he asks her. Mei tells him that he broke her heart twice, and that she let him. She tells him that Kylo loves her more than she likes him, and that's exactly how it needs to be, because I won't ever let myself get hurt like that again, she says. Aang and Kylo find themselves in the crypt. The wisp of smoke appears again, but this time solidifies before them. "Greetings, Avatar," the spirit Kamura Kage says. "You're one of the Kamura Kage from long ago?" Aang states simply. The spirit nods. "For centuries, my sisters and I haunted the warlords of the Fire Islands. For their crimes, we hunted them. We hunted them until islands were united into a single nation.
The first Fire Lord, the one who rests in this crypt, brought the warlords to justice and ushered in an era of peace. Our sadness receded, and we never again set foot in the human world.
The Kamura Kage explains. Aang is confused. But then, why return now? Why are you haunting people again? He asks. The Kamura Kage hovers before him until it finally answers.
I repeat, Avatar. From the time of the first Fire Lord until this moment, we have not entered your world, it whispers.
A short time later, Appa is flying the group back to the capital city. Aang repeats himself, explaining that the spirits aren't the same as the past. So they're different spirits that look like the Kamura Kage? Zuko asks. Maybe, Aang nods. As they fly over the city, though, they are shocked to discover the militia moving through the streets, still chanting. They land quickly, with Zuko rushing over to Constable Sung. What is the meaning of this? He demands. Yukino steps forward, explaining that the spirits have become restless and kidnapped several children from the city. Yukino smiles, explaining that since the Fire Lord refused to do anything, the Safe Nation Society is risking their lives to keep the streets safe. But how'd you get this many volunteers to assemble this late at night? Aang asks. And Yukino ignores the question, explaining that 10 minutes ago the society fought off a group of spirits and saved a child. Hate to break it to you, but those probably weren't spirits, Aang explains.
Preposterous! I saw them with my own eyes. Humans don't move like that,
Yukino shouts. May steps up behind him, her eyes narrowing at her father. You're hiding something. I can tell by the way you're talking. What's your secret, father? She asks. None of this matters as Zuko turns back to Sung. Constable Sung, truly, I am sorry about your son, and we will find him, I promise you. But all of this was done without my authority, and I will not be undermined. Until further notice, you are suspended from your post, he tells the constable. Sung starts to argue, but stops and bows before his Fire Lord.
What do you think you're doing? Constable Sung is a good man, Yukino hisses, coming up to Zuko.
And you, Yukino, this society of yours will disband immediately, or you will all face arrest, Yuko shouts. For a moment, it seems as if Yukino will argue, but finally he turns and orders his volunteers to return to their homes. Aang comes up to his friend, saying what he did was harsh, and Zuko nods. I hated to do it, but I had no choice, he explains. The woman whose baby the Safe Nation Society saved comes up to them in the streets. Fire Lord Zuko, with all due respect, the Safe Nation Society just saved my daughter. They're heroes. Which is more than I can say about you, she tells him. Aang and Zuko return to the palace on Appa, while May fumes in the streets about what Zuko did. When Kylo finally brings her home, she watches him leave. As she looks down in her hands, which holds a picture of her and Zuko together, and quietly, she puts it back in its drawer. A short time later, Zuko walks through the corridors of the palace when he hears a whisper. Help me, Zuzu. She's holding me tight with her cold hands. I'm suffocating, Ki whispers from her bed, Ursa clutching her tightly. Would you like to sleep in the other room? Zuko asks, helping his sister free herself. He puts her on his shoulders, walking through the halls and telling her about his day. He puts her in the other bed, bidding her a good night. Meanwhile, Constable Sung's son finally wakes up. He finds himself in a strange room, surrounded by other kids. The child is scared, but Tom Tom eases his fears. Our moms and dads will be here soon, one of the other girls tells him with a smile. The boy asks how they know, and they point to the door as it opens. Because Tom Tom's dad is here, our moms and dads can't be far behind, she explains with a smile as Yukino enters the room. The man smiles at the children, telling them that they need to go to bed so that their parents can come and see them. Yukino tucks his son in, telling him that it'll be just a few more days until he can see his mother and sister again.
My friends and I are going to make the Fire Nation strong and safe again. By staying here, you and the other children are doing your part, he tells him.
At the palace, Zuko looks up at the night sky. Suki comes out, reporting that the palace is secure, and the two begin to talk in the night air, and Zuko admits to be worried about Tom Tom, that he hopes the trauma won't affect him. He stares over Suki's shoulder, though, seeing smoke coming from Kiyi's room. They both rush through the palace, others joining them as they find the room empty. Aang and Zuko lean out the window, finding the spirits trying to escape over the rooftops. "Put her down, now!" Zuko shouts, and they leap to attack the spirits, but one lashes out and kicks Aang. That definitely felt like a human foot. "Try chi blocking them, Ty Lee," he calls. I'm trying, the Kyoshi warrior shouts as she tries to attack the shifting spirit. Suki grabs the spirit with Kiyi, but the Kamura Kage tosses the young girl to another. They try to give chase, but smoke suddenly swirls around them, causing them all to choke and cough. Aang, acting fast, blows all the smoke away, and the last of the Kamura Kage tries to escape, but Zuko hits them with a blast of fire, knocking them to the ground. "That's it! It's over! Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide," he hisses, stalking over to the fallen spirit. Fire ignites in his hands as he steps over the Kamura Kage. "Where'd your friends take my sister? Same place as the other kids? Answer me!" he demands. The Kamura Kage shifts, revealing a hand beneath her swirling cloak. Lightning begins to crackle, and she lashes out, lightning flying from her hands. And Zuko gasps. "Azula?" Zuko stands ready, his friends behind him. "I know that's you, Azula. Tell your friends to let Kiyi go," he yells at the Kamura Kage with lightning crackling in her hands. But she launches lightning at him, as she always does, and Zuko captures and redirects it back at her. But this time, she catches it and throws it again. Zuko isn't ready for this secondary attack and is launched across the roof, to luckily be caught by the Avatar. "I'm okay, she's gotten strong again," Zuko tells his friends. The Kamura Kage tries to escape, but Suki and Ty Lee try to stop her. They leap, but the vengeful spirit is fast, spinning around and knocking them both away before she leaps into the air and escapes in a bolt of lightning. Zuko rushes forward, watching as the Kamura Kage disappear in a poof of smoke from the palace rooftops, Kiyi with them. He turns as his mother and Norin rush from the safety of the palace. "They took her, didn't they? They took my baby," Ursa whispers. Zuko bows his head, apologizing to his mother. The next morning, Zuko sits on his throne as his constable reports to him about last night's kidnappings. He also tells the Fire Lord that the people are frightened, with some trying to evacuate the city. The constable is interrupted as May and the others enter the chamber. Zuko quickly fills his ex-girlfriend in on how they believe the Kamura Kage are actually Azula and her followers. "Last night, one of them shot lightning at us," Suki informs her. "It wasn't just the lightning, May, it was how she moved," Ty Lee adds. Zuko nods, telling her that they are sure that it's Azula. "But why would she kidnap those kids and her own sister?" May questions. After their explanation, May admits to Zuko that she lied about her father's involvement with the new Ozai Society and the Safe Nation Society. "Not only is Yukino involved, he is their leader," she tells him, bowing her head. "That guy's really into societies," Aang notes. Zuko questions why she had lied to him, but May points out that Zuko should understand how someone could feel about betraying their family, no matter how evil they are. "You're right. I'm sorry," he admits to her. She tells him that when they last saw him, she felt like Yukino was hiding something from her, that she thinks that he already knew that the Kamura Kage weren't really spirits, that he knows more about the missing children than he is admitting. Zuko nods, turning to General Mach. "We need to bring Yukino and his allies in for questioning. Find out exactly what they know, seal off the city. Until this situation is resolved, no one gets in or out," he orders him. He lets him know that if they can't find Yukino, the soldiers have ordered to search everyone's homes. Aang steps up behind his friend, trying to explain that this isn't the way to go about their search, that he will only frighten his citizens more. But Zuko shakes his head, explaining that they already tried things the Avatar's way, and it's time for a different approach. "If you're not willing to support me, then you need to leave," Zuko tells him. Aang continues to argue, forcing Zuko to order Suki and Ty Lee to escort the young Avatar out. They lead him outside, where Aang complains that there is so much more to do before going to the extremes that Zuko is planning. If Sokka were here, he'd sneak off to investigate on his own, Suki smiles, leading the group away. In the secret chamber, the children are playing, and suddenly, the door opens to reveal Yukino and one of the Kamura Kage. "Good news, children! We've brought more friends!" Yukino tells them with a broad smile. The children all rush to hide from the Kamura Kage while Tom Tom runs up to his father. Meanwhile, Ki continues to fight against her capture.
"The sedative wore off early on this one,"
the Kamura Kage hisses. She puts Ki down and the young girl glares at her. "I feel sorry for you," Ki snaps. "My brother is Fire Lord Zuko, and when he finds you, he's going to beat you to a pulp," she tells her. The Kamura Kage begins to move against her, but another steps in the way.
"Don't bother, that one has fight in her. It's in her blood,"
she tells her. The spirits go into the other room, removing their masks. Azula smiles at her friends as they ask how much longer they're going to have to play babysitter. "Patience! I broke you out of that horrible institution, remember? Watching a few brats is the least you could do for me," Azula tells them. She orders the others out of the room, wishing to speak with Yukino in private. He once again questions how long they will have to keep the children locked up here, and Azula smiles, a crazy look still in her eyes. She tells him that he has to do one more thing for her. She needs the Safe Nation Society to protest in the streets and to cause a riot. "A riot? Why? The citizens are already turning against Zuko. It'll only be a matter of time before they demand that he step down," Yukino tells her. But Azula gets close, telling him that he only gets what he wants when she gets what she wants. "And I want a riot," she tells him. Frightened, Yukino agrees, and he walks away, saying how he doesn't understand how this will put Ozai back on the throne. "Idiot! Ozai was never a part of the plan," Azula whispers behind his back. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Aang and Suki continue to search through Kiyi's room, finding nothing. They are interrupted by Ty Lee, who leads them out onto the rooftop after she had remembered something. She tells them how when they were kids, they used to play hide and seek and she and May could never find Azula. It got really, really not fun. Until we found her secret, she tells them. Pushing a hidden brick, a section of the wall slides inward, revealing a secret passage. "Whoa," Aang whispers. At the gates to the capital city, soldiers have already begun to blockade anyone leaving. They ride through the city's streets and enter people's homes, searching for Yukino and members of the Safe Nation Society. The citizens argue with them, believing that the Safe Nation Society are the heroes.
"And besides, why search somebody's home for a group that is operating in broad daylight?"
An old lady tells one of the soldiers, pointing out the window at the Safe Nation Society members as they protest down the streets. General Mok rides up to the Society members, ordering them to stop and that they are under arrest. But the people of Capital City are already angry and begin to yell and throw things at the soldiers. "This is going to be easier than I thought," Yukino thinks to himself, and he turns to his members. "We are fighting to protect our children, and instead of thanking us, Fire Lord Zuko treats us like common criminals. Will we stand for this injustice?" he demands of them, and they all shout in anger. "Resist Safe Nation Society! Resist the imposter forces at all costs!" he shouts. The Society members lash out, meeting the Fire Nation soldiers in battle. The fight quickly spreads, turning into a full-scale riot, and in the confusion, Yukino quietly slips away. At May's house, Kai Lo is talking to his girlfriend's grandmother as he dives to protect her as a pot comes sailing through her window. He steps out into the street, trying to figure out what is going on, and is quickly caught up in the riot and arrested by the soldiers. In a Fire Nation airship, Iroh looks down at the Fire Nation as the captain tells him that they are nearing the coast. The pilot turns, asking what brings the man back to the Fire Nation.
National Tea Appreciation Day will soon be upon us. We must begin preparations,
Iroh tells the man with an enthusiastic smile. The man is shocked, thinking that the tea day was a one-time thing.
Oh no, it's been woven into the fabric of Fire Nation culture,
Iroh tells him. In the capital, General Mach is reporting about the riot to Zuko, who is shocked things have come to this. The constables arrive with the Safe Nation Society prisoners, and Zuko orders them to prepare the interrogation room. Mai is shocked as Kai Lo comes over the cart, however. She tries to speak with Zuko, convincing him that Kai Lo must have been captured by mistake. Though he is not sure at first, since the young man has betrayed his allegiances before, he does order him to be released. However, Zuko glares as Mai runs over to hug her boyfriend. But he is interrupted as Aang, Suki, and Ty Lee rush over. "We found something you gotta see, come on!" Aang yells at him. But General Mach interrupts, informing Zuko that they need a plan for if the people rise up again. And Zuko nods, turning away from his friend. "I'm sorry, Aang, but General Mach is right. Like I told you, I need to handle this my way," Zuko tells him. "Even if your way is stupid?" Aang shouts. A determined look comes over him, and he orders Suki and Ty Lee to stand back. And he shoots an air scooter at Zuko, carrying him away on a ball of air as the Fire Lord yells at him, "Aang, put me down!" He finally drops him next to the secret passage they found as the others catch up with them. At first, Zuko is still angry, but he is shocked by the passage, asking if they believe that this is where Azula took the children. "Kiyi could be on the other side," Zuko tells them, looking into the passage. "Tom Tom too. I'm coming along," Mai tells him. Zuko nods, turning back to Suki and Ty Lee, ordering them to keep guard over the palace. And with that, the group of four head into the secret tunnels. In their secret chambers, Yukino explains to Azula that he did everything she asked and begs her to let the children go. Azula smiles, telling him that they had a deal and moves to unlock the door. But she turns away, explaining that if they let the children go, they will run straight to their parents and tell them what happened. They would expose my sisters and me before we were ready, Azula explains. "Is that what you want, Yukino?" she demands. Yukino shakes his head. "Of course not," he stutters. Azula smiles and turns away. "So we're in agreement then. We will keep our young guests here until the time is right. Good talk, Yukino. Good talk," she smiles. In the chamber, Tom Tom stands by the door, expecting his father to enter. One of the kids asks why Tom Tom's father is the only one who visits. "Tom Tom's dad is here because he's a bad guy, just like the scary ladies," one of the kids explains. Tom Tom rushes over, tackling the other boy for suggesting his father was bad. "Will you boys be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate here," Kiyi yells at them as she continues to move through bender stances. One of the other girls asks what she's doing. "I'm not sure, but I watched Zuzu do this in the courtyard one time, and I think this is what makes him brave," she tells them, continuing to practice the stances. Finally, Zuko and the others make it to the end of the passageway. They push open the door, revealing a vast cemetery around them. "This is the royal family graveyard," Zuko explains, telling them that this is where everyone in the royal family is buried. "It's called the Garden of Tranquil Souls," he explains. "Really? Well, I hate to break it to you, Zuko, but the souls here don't seem all that tranquil," Aang notes as they are suddenly surrounded by the Kamura Kage. Back inside the palace, Iroh wanders the halls, looking for anyone. He finds Ursa meditating, a sad look on her face, and Kiyi's doll in her hands. And without a word, Iroh kneels down beside her. In their secret chambers, Yukino sobs in front of the door, crying about how he only wanted to bring safety to the Fire Nation, but instead has delivered the nation to a madwoman. Inside the chamber, the kids are frightened, thinking that it's a frog dog crying outside. "That's not a frog dog, that's my dad. I think he's crying," Tom Tom shouts. "That's stupid. Adults don't cry, it's a frog dog," the other boy yells, and the two start to fight again. "Boys, be quiet and move. I think I figured something out," Kiyi shouts at them, dropping into a bender stance. Outside, Yukino leans against the door, still apologizing to the trapped children, when suddenly the door begins to heat up behind him, and he moves away. In a matter of seconds, the metal of the door has melted to reveal Kiyi. "Hang on, children, I'll go get a bucket," Yukino shouts at them. And in a matter of minutes, the children are freed, and Yukino hugs Tom Tom as he explains that a terrible crime was committed against them, and the perpetrators must be brought to justice. "But before that, we must get you back to your parents," he tells them as they cheer. "And before that, you must keep your voices down so we don't get caught by the scary ladies," he warns them. And immediately, they all cover their mouths. In the cemetery, the group fights against the Kamura Kage. Mei is struck by a kick, rolling and throwing one of her knives. The Kamura Kage's cloak is cut, and Azula removes her mask. "Nice throw, Mei. You've been practicing." Azula smiles at her friend. "Azula? Where are you hiding those kids?" Mei demands. But Azula smiles, telling Mei that she was the one who gave her the idea. When they were children, they had stolen mochi from Mei's mother, and the young girl was so upset that she moaned about the Kamura Kage coming to get her in her sleep. "Shut up already!" Mei shouts, throwing more knives. But Azula tosses a bolt of lightning, knocking Mei to the ground. Azula stands over her, but Kylo rushes from behind, knocking against the crazy woman. "Who is this imbecile?" Azula snaps as she strikes him with lightning. She grabs him, noting that Mei seems to be slumming it with her new boyfriend. "Leave him alone!" Zuko shouts, fire blazing in his hands. "Zuzu, trying to win back your ex-girlfriend by defending her new boyfriend? That's just sad," Azula notes before tossing lightning at her brother. Their power meets in the middle, creating a giant blast of energy. Azula turns, running off as Zuko gives chase. "Azula, stop!" he shouts as he dashes after her. Underground, Yukino turns back to assure the children that the exit is nearby. And as they round a corner, they come face to face with two of the Kamura Kage. Back in the palace, Iroh and Ursa kneel next to each other. She finally opens her eyes, looking at the doll in her hands, and she explains that she made it for her daughter's birthday, and since she got her old face back, the young girl has refused to touch it. "She won't touch it. She won't touch me," she says, sadness in her voice. Iroh nods his head, but tells her that she has no reason to lose hope in her daughter. "Can I ask you something personal, Iroh? How did you get over the death of your son?" Ursa asks. There's a touch of sadness in Iroh's eyes as he explains that he never got over the death of his son. He explains that as parents, they want to keep their kids safe. Better to teach them and ourselves to see fear with unclouded eyes, he tells her. He explains that the fear for her daughter will always be there, even after she is returned safely, and that she must look at it with unclouded eyes. In the cemetery, Aang continues to fight the other Kamura Kage. He knocks them away with a blast of air and knocks out the others by cracking them in the head with a dirt tower. "Zuko? Mei? Kylo? Hey, where'd everyone go?" he asks out loud, looking around the empty graveyard. "Help!" A soft shout can be heard from one of the mausoleums. He rushes over, knocking the door off to reveal Yukino and the children in a secret passage. "Look, it's the Avatar!" one of the children shouts, and the Kamura Kage turn, rushing towards Aang with fire in their hands. Meanwhile, Zuko follows Azula into a crypt. Shocked as the door is locked behind him, he turns to find his sister sitting on the tomb before him. Listen, Azula, maybe this is a weird thing to say given the circumstances, but you seem better, Zuko tells her. Oh, not just better, stronger. She smiles as she rushes towards him. In the tunnel, Aang leaps over the Kamura Kage's attacks, but smoke begins to spread all around them. Monkey feathers! I took a breath at the wrong time! Aang says to himself as he begins to stumble, and the Kamura Kage kicks him in the back, knocking him down. Who knew smoke in the lungs is all it took to get the better of the mighty Avatar? One of the Kamura Kage scoffs. Suddenly, Mai and Kai Lo are behind them, knocking them out with 2 sharp kicks. Mai quickly picks up Aang before rushing to Tom Tom. Back in the tomb, Azula and Zuko are locked in combat. Lightning cracks against fire as they dodge each other's blows. Azula kicks Zuko in the gut, knocking him down as she stands over him. He looks up at her, yelling that she needs to accept that she will never become the Fire Lord. Accept it? I've embraced it! She hisses with a smile. Explaining her plan, she explains that she finally realized that Zuko was right, that becoming the Fire Lord was never her destiny. Because of this, she felt a weight lifted off her shoulders and no longer heard voices in her head. She realized that her true destiny was to make Zuko strong, to make him the Fire Lord that she could never be. One who's strong, who rules with fear. She smiles. Can't you see? It's already working, she asks him. Zuko turns, hearing the sounds of his friends and the children outside. We've won, Azula, he tells her. Oh, I disagree, she smiles. She explains that Zuko has shown how ruthless he can be in the last 24 hours. Deep down, inside, you're still one of us. You can deny it for a little while, but eventually, you will become just like me. And then, in a sense, I'll be Fire Lord again, she tells him as smoke begins to swirl around them. No, you're wrong, he shouts. But suddenly, Azula is gone. Accept it. It's who you are, she whispers to him as she disappears. He rushes back outside, hugging Kiyi and telling her how worried he was about her. I wasn't worried at all. I knew you'd come for us, she tells her big brother. Later, Yukino stands outside the Fire Nation prison, saying goodbye to his son. He hugs the boy and hands him back to Mai. The 2 children watch as their father is chained. Father, you deserve to go to prison for what you have done, but in the end, you were brave, and that is how I'll choose to remember you, Mai tells him. That is more than I have right to ask, Yukino tells his daughter and is led away. At the palace, Zuko has called the citizens of the city together, and he stands before them, apologizing for the last 24 hours. He tells them that he has made decisions based on fear and not wisdom and clear thinking. He asks for their forgiveness, and he explains that they should not feel like prisoners in their own city. I resolve to do better, and I will continue to strive to be a Fire Lord worthy of all of you, he tells them. How touching, Azula smiles, watching from a nearby rooftop. Smoke begins to billow around her and her fellow Kamura Kage. The wind blows, and the vengeful women are gone. Outside her flower shop, Mai's grandmother watches as Mai and Kylo exchange words, ending their relationship. And inside the prison, Iroh stands with Ursa in the torch-lit corridor. Are you sure you're ready? He asks. Yes, she tells him, holding her lantern. Iroh nods as she enters the room. Remember, unclouded eyes, he tells her. Ursa crosses the room, standing before Ozai. Ursa, I heard you'd returned. That was a mistake, he tells her, looking up from the shadows of his cell. A crazed look appears in his eyes as he glares at her. I promised that if I ever saw you again, I would end you and everyone you loved. But I'm going to do so much more than that. By the time I'm through, you will beg me for oblivion. You hear me, you wretched thing? You will beg! he yells at her. Fear fills Ursa's eyes for a moment, but she gathers herself. You. I see you, she tells him. After all these years, I finally see you, Ozai. You're just a small man, trying with all your might to be big. Your heart is so small, you've no room for your son, or your daughter, or your brother, or even yourself. Goodbye, Ozai, she tells him simply, turning to walk away. Ozai is stunned, his words coming out in stutters. But, don't you turn your back on me! Come back and grovel before me! Do you hear me? Come back and grovel! He shouts. Ursa returns to her chambers, where she finds Norin and Kiyi asleep in their bed. She pulls the blankets aside, and her daughter looks up, sleep in her eyes. Mommy, you're back. Kiyi smiles sleepily. I'm back, Ursa nods.
And that was Avatar: The Last Airbender, Smoke and Shadow, Parts 1, 2, and 3 by Luen Yang. What did you think about today's story? Let me know in the comments down below, and like and subscribe to help out the channel. I'm Dan with Comicstorian, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.